Okay, so we're doing our WIP Parade a little bit different this year. I've taken photos of them for all the albums that I need in No New Starts, and so I thought I'd just put a pictorial together. Alright, so the first one that we have are all my Hades that are coming through. So this one is Christmas 2 by Ciro Marchetti. It is by Heaven and Earth Designs. I started this one back on the 1st of January 2021. Well, actually, I've seen the new year in with it. So that's pretty much all I got done. I didn't get as much stitching as I would have liked to have got done this year. Basically, yeah, things just got in the way with everything that was happening, and so I just took it pretty slow. The next one we have, I don't believe this is available anymore. This was a freebie that was in the Heaven and Earth Designs Facebook group, and it is called Autumn Dragon. Unfortunately, I don't have any other information about it because it isn't available anymore. I'm doing this one on 28 count 10 stitch, and it is 2/1. The Ciro Marchetti one is also 10 stitch 28 count 2/1. All of my Hades are pretty much on that at 10 stitch, except for one which is coming up a bit later. Alright, so this one here is, again, this was another freebie in the Facebook group. There was a whole heap that went up, and I got a couple of them. I think I got about 6 of them all up that I really liked. This was another one that I really liked, and I started this one with Amy from Creativity by Gidge back in Mania. And yeah, again, this is 2/1 10 stitch, and it's called Fairy Happy Ever After, I think it is called. This one here was a kit that I got, and this is a restart this year. This is Autumn Queen by Bridget Ashwood, and it is, I just had to think then, this as I said, is a restart. The original one I've done on 25 count, didn't like it, and I'm really loving 10 stitch, so I decided to restart this one. I haven't got as much as I originally had done. I almost had a page finish. I'm about halfway through now. The next one is, again, another free one from Heaven and Earth Design. It is called Northern Blessings. This is what it's going to look like. This is only a partial, the same as the Red Dragon one. It's only a partial as well, so there's no background with it. So they're still pretty big though, even though that there's no background. It does take a little while to get these done. I think I've got about 600 stitches in it so far, so not a lot done on it. And again, this was done back in Mania with Amy. The next one that is coming up is called Which Way, and this is by Molly Harrison. This is a Heaven and Earth design. I do not know if this is still available. I know that it's not available in the diamond painting. Gail Phillips done the diamond painting with Amy and I when we started this on the 15th of May. Again, this is a 2/1 10 stitch on 28 count. And unfortunately, that's all I've got done. I have touched this a couple of times since May, but, you know, only got 100 stitches here, 100 stitches there. But that is my progress. And this is actually going to be used in Daily 30 this year for the yearly prompt. Okay, so the next one that we have is Hubba Bubble, and this one is by Lisa Parker. I do love Lisa Parker's charts. I've got several of hers, and also a diamond painting one. I think it's called the Witching Hour, the diamond painting one that I have. So I done a restart on this. This is a max colors. I've got 2 max colors. Autumn Queen is a max colors, and this one is a max colors as well. So there's 237 colours in each one. Again, 10 stitch, 2/1, 25 count. This is the only one that I am doing full cross. Sorry about the picture, it's not that great, but you can still see it pretty clearly. So I haven't got much done on this one. This is Wicked, Tricksy and False. Again, this is a Jasmine Beckett Griffith chart, and it's by Heaven and Earth Design, and it is 2/1 full cross. The next one we've got is my favourite artist of all. As I said, Jasmine Beckett Griffith is my favourite artist. This is Red Dragon. This one is my focus point of 2021, so you can see I've got a fair bit done. I think I'm up to about 8% now. Again, this is 10 stitch, 2 over 1 and on 28 count. I've pretty much changed all of my heights from 25 to 28 count. I just like the coverage a bit better, and you can see with that darkness there, you can't see the fabric through. That was really driving me crazy, having that situation there. So the next one that we have is one that I started again with Amy from Creativity by Gidge. This was started on the 1st of May, and it is Magic Study. This was a limited edition, and I don't believe this is available anymore. And last time I looked, they did have a fabric pack, so maybe if you can find the chart maybe being charted by someone else. But that is all of my heights that I've going, or my BAPs that I call them. So next we move on to our large WIPs. Now the reason that I've got them with Nicole Reed's large WIPs is because I'm actually using the covers from No New Starts album. So I've had to catalogue all my WIPs that I want to work on in 2022. So these are my large, what I considered a large one. There was a formula that we had to use, and so this is how we've come to this conclusion. All right, so basically the first one, and a lot of these I have not touched all year, so there's not a lot of progress, but as you can see, there is some progress. Most of them have 200 or more stitches in them, because part of the requirement is for them to be 200 stitches or more to be considered a WIP. So this one is by the Blue Flower, and it is Huckleberry Farm. I've got several samplers on the go, but this one by far, I love it. Absolutely love it. I can't wait to get some more stitches in. And as I said earlier, I haven't done a lot of stitching, so I'm hoping this year that the challenges will really help me. An all-time favourite of the channel is Halloween Quaker by Leela Studios. This one has several mistakes in it. I've since found another one, and I'm going to have to do some frogging on this one this year as well. But I want to get everything else finished first, and then I will worry about the frogging. And I'm talking about the little crow up the top there above the cat. He is up one too many, so I've got to bring him down, so he has to come out completely. But I'm almost there. We're getting there, slowly but surely getting there. And I'm using all the called for colours, which are fancy flosses for this one. The fabric I'm using on that one is Sage by Zweigart. The next one is a restart. Now, this one I started doing 2019, I think it was, maybe early 2020, and I was going to do it as a ornaments. But I have several different ones from Little House Needleworks and Country Cottage Needleworks, and they were all looking at like ornaments. So I've decided to scrap that idea and just do them as cushions, because I've got quite a large lounge and I can scatter them to decorate, or put them in front of the TV. This is another one that it's a new start. It just recently started this one, and again, this is getting done into a cushion. I'm doing it as a whole piece as you see it on the screen. I couldn't find a cover picture that had no numbers on it, but it was a stitch along, and that's the amounts that came out. It went over a couple of months, and I think I got mine from the Fat Quarter shop. Oh no, the Cruel Goblin down in Sydney. All right, the next one is Pandemic. Now, a lot of people are starting to finish this up. I only started that this year. I didn't start it in 2020. I started it this year at the beginning, and I'm using Silks for You PRO168, I think it is. And it is a variegated, so it goes from a charcoal to like a cranberry colour. I've done one page on that one. Okay, so something I'm trying a little bit new this year. This is a new start, and only in the last week or so. This is Cross Stitch Village, and it's the 3D. I got a book and I just wanted to give it a go, so I've actually got a couple of these on the go now. I've started them all in the last week or so. Full coverage. This is just stitch on fabric, any sort of fabric. I'm using 16 count. It asked for 22 count hardanger, but I decided to go with 16 with what I had here. Now, this one is quite an old one. I've had this one for quite some time. I actually completely forgot that I had it there. I actually started this back in 2019, late 2019. It's Tapestry by Ink Circles, and it is being stitched on 28 count linen, and I cannot for the life of me tell you what the colour is because it actually didn't have a colour on it. So I think it may be natural. Or it's like, no, I don't think it's natural. But anyway, that's Tapestry. This one was a stitch along that I was doing for my birthday, and I started this in 2020. This is on 32 count, and it's like a purplish sort of colour that I'm doing it on. It's very mottled, similar to the fabric mottling that's in the fabric on the model stitch, but I'm using CXC threads on this and just matching the numbers to the DMC. I just decided to go with CXC. The next one is, this one I started back at the beginning of 2020. Yes, 2020. This is Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. No, this one I started for Gail Phillips's birthday in 2020. So this is Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. I've started up in the first one. I actually have not touched it at all this year. So that's why it's been pulled out for no new starts. There are several WIPs that you won't see here. These are the ones that I will be working on in 2022. These are all the ones I've declared. This is a recent start. This is a Doreen Jones chart. It is called The Green Man. I have since found Joan Elliott's Green Goddess, which is very similar. So with this one, I'm stitching it, and then I'm going to use the border from Green Goddess around the Green Man and sort of have a matching set. Whether I frame them or whether I turn it into a two-sided cushion, I'm not too sure yet. But it's coming along nicely. I only started that this month in December. All right, this is my oldest WIP. This one here is, I've since found out, I bought it on AliExpress as a kit. I since found out it is called Christmas in Quilt, and it's by Curio E. Batakuri. And basically, this is the one I was talking about that I orientated the fabric the wrong way. So I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to be able to get that last border on or to the size. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to work on it and see how we go. This one is from the Gift of Stitching. It is the Bristol Sampler by WDC Designs. I am using a purple thread, and I cannot remember the number for that. I'm sorry, and I haven't actually written it down. So this is one of another sampler that I'm doing. This is like a traditional sampler, and so it's got a lot of lettering and stuff on it and whatnot. I haven't actually touched it this year, so yeah. Okay, the next one that I have is another Hawk Run, and they're all done on exactly the same fabric because these are actually going to get turned into a massive wall hanging. I've got 12-foot ceilings. I've talked about this before. It's 28 counts, called Rustique, and I'm using CXC threads and matching the DMC to the DMC colours. So I've got the cauldron done, and again, I haven't touched that this year at all. I think maybe I might have put some flames in. That I was supposed to work on it in DD Spooktober, and I never got around to it. October just got away from me. So this one here I started last Christmas 2020, and this, you've probably seen a lot of floss tubers doing this. This one was a free one from Aurifil, the thread Aurifil, and basically I am just not using the Aurifil. I'm actually converting the colours into DMC, and thanks to Nat from No New Starts, she had converted it, and then she gave me those numbers, so she made it super easy for me, so thanks, Nat. The next one that I've got in my WIP list for this year is another Curio E. Batakuri. It is Not Halloween Without Pumpkins, and so it is super cute. And a lot of these little Curio ones that I've started are actually for Mia. Basically, I started them, and I've got a little alcove where her room used to be, but unfortunately she's not with us anymore, so but I'm still going to do them as little cushions and send them down to her Possibly just leave them here in her room for when she comes to visit. So she's got some pretty stuff here as well. So not a lot done on that one. This is a Jean Farish design. This is her Janet Irving, and I believe it is her great-great-great-grandmother that did this. So yeah, I love this. I love working on it. I love the colours. I love the border. I just pretty much love everything about it. Unfortunately, I haven't touched it much this year, and this is being stitched on 28 count as well, using CXC threads. You will notice a theme that I do use a lot of CXC threads, except for this one. Okay, so this is Spangled by Long Dog Samplers, and this one I'm actually using Weeks Dye Works, Gentle Arts threads, Colour Classic Works, so all your fancy threads. A few DMCs thrown in there, so the 310 is the DMC on that one. And yeah, so I'm hoping to get a fair few stitches into that. There is a group that I've just joined. It's an Aussie group, and couple of the prompts will actually fit this one, so I'm hoping to work on this in January. This one was a freebie that someone's posted in one of the groups that I'm in. It is by Plum Street Samplers. I do love a good Plum Street sampler. I've got a fair few of their charts in my stash, only working on one or two. I think this one and another one at the moment. And yeah, I'm just sort of winging it with colours. I've added a few different colours in there, and I'm just using fancy flosses that I've got here to tie it in, along with DMC as well. So yeah, whatever I can work in, and CXC, basically just stitching from stash with that one. Okay, this one is Guardians of Notre Dame. This is a relatively new start. I think I started this at the beginning of December, or maybe the end of November. Using DMC threads for this. Sorry about all the threads all over it, but yeah, I've got to tie them off and weave them through, or however you want to say it. This is on my fabric, DDs Fabrics. This is called Wicked. It is not showing up true to colour because it is not that dark. It's a little bit lighter than that, but it's going to look amazing when it's done. This one I started way back in 2019. At the beginning of 2019, my original plan was to do one of these charts a year. I am so far behind. I still have a year to catch up to get the 3 done. I might not get it done, but I might end up at the end of 2020. I might be only a year behind. But anyway, it's on Rustic. It is using the CXC, and it is Villager Hawk Run Hollow. And I've got up to block 2. This one is a stitch along. It is being stitched on Tangerine Bliss by DDs Fabrics. I'm using just 310. It actually has a couple of greys and whites and stuff in it, but I am using wholly and solely 310 because I think it's just going to look absolutely amazing on this fabric. This is a stitch along still going with the lovely Gail Phillips and Laura from Stitching by the Shore, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I just love it. I love a good Quaker. Yeah, she's beautiful. She's going to be beautiful once it's finished. This is a new start that I started in December because I didn't really have any Christmas stuff. I had one Christmas chart, so I decided that I'm going to do the My Fanny Stitch Santa collection. So you can see this is number 1 that I've started, but I'm actually going to put them all, I think there's 10 or 12 in the collection, and I'm going to put them all onto one piece of fabric and turn it into a cushion, and a couple will be ornaments for the tree. This is Evening Skies by DDs Fabrics. This piece is my first Hardanger piece. It's called Delicate Daisies. It is in a old magazine that I got off Stash Unload. This is my first go at Hardanger, and thanks to the lovely Gail, she's been helping me out with instruction and stuff like that. I'm making a good nudge at it. Now, I've included this in my WIPs because there's actually cross-stitch in it, and I want to work on it this year. So, and the admin said that I'll need to include it in my album over in No New Starts. All right, this is another Kira E. Batikiri, and I know that I'm probably butchering that name, but anyway, that's how I'm going to say it, and I do apologise. This is Halloween in Quilts, so it is similar to the Christmas in Quilts, set out the sort of same way. This time I have not orientated the fabric the wrong way. I am using CXC colours in this threads, and this is stitched on a 32 count even weave, and it's in white. Yes, it's in white. That's not showing up white on there. There's another one by the same designer. This is Welcome Great Pumpkin, another Halloween one. You can see they're very cutesy type ones, so they're very much geared towards me as age group and all the rest of it. This one is very reminiscent of like, what's his name? Snoopy, Charlie Brown. That's sort of what it reminds me of. So I've got to do a little bit of fudging on this one because I've cut the fabric not to the right size. So this one's going to end up being a wall hanging, I'd say. All right, so this one has just got a lot of love in the month of December. I used it for my Stitch With Me. I just recently in the last week finished off the last reindeer, the moon, and all the snowflakes at the bottom under the reindeers and the green trees frame and the trees inside it. So yesterday on my floss tube, I said I only put 775 stitches in it. I actually got 1185 stitches into that one. I missed a page where I had worked on it. So yeah, I got a lot into that. So I'm looking forward to working on that again. This is another restart, and it's the last of my large WIPs. So this one I have done Grandma's quilt as an individual block, and I will make that up into a little cushion for on my Christmas tree, but I'm going to do the whole thing as a cushion cover. Too many ornaments, and I'll probably do the truck one for the Christmas tree. So that's Mima's quilt and Poppy's truck then on the tree. All right, so that is my large ones. Now we're going to move on to my medium WIPs, and there's a few of these ones, not as many as the large ones. These are varying different designers, and also most of them are stitched on 28 count to 32 count even weave. For most of them, I will be using CXC threads. Even though I do have the DMC, I like to use the CXC threads because they're a lot cheaper, but they don't have all the colours either. So I'll supplement them with different things. And there's a few that I'm using fancy floss too. So this first one is another 3D one. I came across this looking for gnomes. I ended up with an ornament. Who knew that that's what can happen? So this has got 200 stitches in it. It was only started in the last week, but it is actually in my WIP album for 2022. So all these WIPs that you're seeing, these are all going to be worked on during the year of 2022, and I believe there are 64 in total. The next one is, this one's been around for a little while. This came out of a magazine. This is by, is it Emma Condong or something, I think her name is, or Condong. Anyway, whatever her name is, this is her Pina Colada recipe. Now, who doesn't love a good Pina Colada? And it is on black, so I don't work on it very often, but when I do work on it, I try to get a fair bit done, and we're starting on the words now. It is beautiful. Like this, that picture is not doing it justice at all. This next one is by Doreen Jones. This is When Witches Ride. I already have a finish in mind for this. I'm working on antique blue from Sew It All Australia in this one. I'm just using 310 DMC because I've got a big wad of that, and I will just do whatever, orange and white. I was going to put some like sparkle through the moon and all the rest of it, but I've since changed my mind, and I'm just going to stick with the colours and keep it simple, as they say. This next one is a Barbara Anna design, I believe, and it is Black Cat Hollow, and that's all I've really got done on that. And this is on a 32 count linen, so it's a natural colour, natural linen. I really like the look of it. It's going to look fabulous. I'm going to turn this into a wall hanging when it's done. So, and I'm doing all three. Like some people do the three parts separate. I'm doing them all together. This is another oldie but a goodie. This is by Prairie Schooler, and this is Where There Are Bees. This one's almost finished. Like you can see, I'm down on the hive now, so I dare say that this will be finished within the first half of 2022. I was making a really good go at it this year, and then I got sidetracked with work and driving lessons and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that one will be finished sooner rather than later. All right, the next one is, and I've been working on this for a little while now, just periodically. It's a Plum Street sample. This is the other one that I'm working on. As I said, I've got a lot of hers in my stash, but I'm not working on a lot of them. I've got a couple more that I'll be making, doing on the same fabric and framing up the same way. They're very much autumn ones. They're very much autumn colours, very similar, and all the rest of it. And this is on 28 count Monaco, and I'm just using the called for colours for that one. It was early on in the piece, and that's why. So this one is a Barbara Anna Designs 3 Witches. Now, can't go past this for Halloween. I love this as a little mini sampler. I've started on the middle witch. I have not actually touched this since I started it back in 2020 for DDs Spooktober. So if you remember, I did 30 new starts and 1 WIP for the month of October in 2020. So I started a lot of Halloween ones, and you're not seeing them all here either, because some of them I'm finished and some of them I'm not working on this coming year. This one is called Hello Dear. It is a caterpillar cross stitch one. This was a kit. I believe it's on 16 count Ada, white Ada, and it came with all the flosses, so it's DMC. And as you can see, I have just started that. And when I was talking about it in my floss tube, I said I wasn't sure when I started. I started it just before Mia's birthday this year, so I've only been working on this since October, and I pretty much only touched it just after her birthday and this week. This is another 3D one. This is from the November. This is a 3-part, so this is part 1 of the 3-part series, and it is in the November, December and Christmas 2021 The World of Cross Stitch. I've got the Readly app, so I've just printed off what I needed and I got started on that, and that was started this week, and I got 200 stitches in that, so 206 I think. Just using the called for colours, where if DMC and CXC, if I don't have the CXC I'll use the DMC, but yeah, it's coming along nicely. Now this one, the Blue Flower Sleeping Bee, I started this with Nitty Nat stitches over... She's in No New Start. She's one of the admin. And I started this with her for her birthday, I think in 2020. She has since finished hers. I've actually got a finishing idea in mind. It's using a box that you can get from IKEA here in Australia to finish it in a similar fashion as the cover. So I'm looking forward to getting some more stitches in it, and that is on 40 count natural linen. Now this I got a bit addicted to this year. I started this with the Rebel stitches. This is on 28 count linen. Can't tell you what sort of linen it is. Can't remember off the top of my head. It is strawberry. It's actually 28 Cashel linen. I dyed that myself. It's called strawberry latte, and coffee tea dyed using coloured teas and using the called for colours. I got the kit from 123 Stitch. This one is another DD Spooktober one. This is using DMC colours, CXC colours, and the orange I'm going to use. I think it's called I can't remember. It's for, I will when I work on it I'll pull it out, but I want to have the orange in a fancy thread, so yeah. And again, that's on 28 count even weave, that one. This next one is just a recent start. I'm stitching this on 32 count white. Zweigart White even weave. It is Merry and Bright. It is part of the Songbird Garden series. This is block 2, because as I said, I didn't have much Christmas stuff, so I wanted to start some Christmas stuff before I headed into the new year, because next year I'm trying not to start anything and just working on my WIPs. I will have model stitches to start, but that's what I've got done on that, and I'm using the fancy floss for that one. This is another one that I started this year. This was done in 2 sittings, about 8 hours all up of stitching there. This is plastic little covers or something, little plastic covers I think it is on YouTube, on Etsy, and you know, like Die Hard is my favourite Christmas movie, and of course I have to have that, and now that Mia's not here I can have it hanging up. So yeah, all right, this is another Doreen Jones one. This is Haunting Night, this one's called, and as you can see, that border is amazing, and it's pretty quick to stitch too. This is on a coffee tea dye and baked in the oven, 14 count, and I did this I did it as a tutorial with Beck a few years ago, so 2019 I think we did. I can't wait to, this one is, I'm just going to frame. I just really like this one. Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay, so this is a new start. I've never done anything from Little Dove Designs. This is called Autumn Glows. I'm going to have to fiddle around because you can see on the chart there that it's got September, October, November. Well, I'm in Australia, so it's March, April, May for me. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of fiddling around with the months and everything on these charts. I do have the 4. I've only started 2. Excuse me. This one, which is Autumn Glows, that's over 200 stitches in there in the border. And the next one is Winter Warmth, and I've got 413 stitches in this one. And the only reason I know the exact numbers of those is because I've only just started them in the last week of 2021. So, again, I'm going to have to fiddle around with the words, the months, and for all of these charts, because obviously being in Australia, our seasons are completely different to America. So they're gorgeous. I love it. All right. So next we're going to be moving on to my small ones. Oh, and those 2 charts that you just seen then are on Autumn and Storm. The grey one is Storm and the orangey one is Autumn, and they're from DDs Fabrics. All right. So we're moving on to our smalls. I promise not too much more to go. Could you imagine if I was pulling these all out? Whew. We'd be there for a long time. All right, so let's move on to our small ones. And the first one that we've got coming up. Now, a lot of these should be finished. It's just pure laziness on my part. So this one is called, this is a series that, and I didn't write down what magazine it was in, but it was in one of the cross stitch magazines. And basically it's a steampunk series. So there's a cat, a hawk, a Dalmatian, and a fox. And I mean, this Dalmatian is very dapper. I've still got a little bit to go. As you can see, I've got a little bit of the back stitching to go, but for the most part, all the stitching's done except for up around in his hat. So I've just, I do have to frog a little bit out near the laces there, but we're almost there. Again, this is Doreen Jones. I've done the cat in this series, and this is the owl. And that will be the last one that I'm doing of this series for this coming year. Because I haven't started the other ones and I didn't have time to get them done. But I'll get this one finished sooner rather than later. So, you know, like I can see quite the light at the end of the tunnel with a lot of these WIPs, and I know that the challenges really drive me to stitch and all the rest of it, and I've set up some really good stitching spots throughout the house so I can get a lot of stitching in. This one is again from another magazine. I believe this was from a Just Cross Stitch magazine, and it is many years old. I think it was 2016, October 2016, I think it was. Don't quote me on that. 2018, there you go, the date's on it. I'm halfway through this now. I'm just using a scrap piece of fabric that came in the grab bags from Sew It All Australia, so it's 28 count even weave. I couldn't tell you what colour it was. It didn't have the colours on it or anything like that. The next one is Holly Jolly. This is Shannon Christine one, and basically I'm almost done with this. I was just waiting on some Krynic to come and some beads. I've got them now, so I can get that finished. That'll be finished sooner rather than later. I probably won't even put that into any prompts or anything like that. I will just get that done and get it out of the way, and then yeah, I won't worry about starting the next one at all. So yeah, this next one is almost done. I've still got a little bit of stitching to do on her coat, and then I'm ready to fully finish it. So this is Just Nan's Fun Hazel Witch, I think it's called. Yeah, so I've got a little bit more stitching to go, a little bit of back stitching to do, and then it's done. As I said, most of these should have been finished by now. It's just been pure laziness on my part of not getting them done. So, you know, here's to 2022 and smashing them out of the park. Okay, so this one here is out of last year's, or this year's? No, last year's Halloween special from Just Cross Stitch magazine. It's called Pick Your Poison, and it's by Autumn Lane Stitchery. That's all I've got done. I think that bottle's super cute. It's not very big. It's actually going to turn out really nice, and I'm just doing that on a 28 count, like a oatmeal-y sort of colour fabric. And this last one is from Verbena over, I think it's Verbena Stitchery over on Etsy, and this is called Black Spider. That little black spider area, that's pretty intense. Like, there's a lot of little stitches in that. and whatnot. And we've got a little I'm sort of just now starting to get into like quarter stitches and 3/4 stitches and all that sort of stuff. So this has got a little bit of that in there, which is really good. So I'm super excited to get all these done. But that is all of my WIPs that I have for 2022. So I will be working on all of these WIPs. I want to touch all of them. So there's 60 odd there. In the first week of January alone, there will be at least 7 different ones that I'll be touching and getting a decent amount of stitches in. I am part of Daily 30. No New Starts is my main group, and Magical Stitches they're my 2 main groups. So those are the ones that I'm focusing on. Then I'm working on Which Way, Pandemic, and Halloween in Quilt for Daily 30 for their yearly challenge. And then of course they've got their actual Daily 30, the one that you stitch on, and then they've got some other challenges that they've got happening as well. So I'm hoping that I will get a lot of stitches into all of my WIPs and get a lot of them finished. All those small ones should be finished by the end of the year, and there's a few medium ones that will be done as well. Hopefully most of them will be fully finished as well, because that is the plan. But if you like this video today, don't forget to give us a thumbs up down below. And if you're new here, this is a little bit different. I don't normally do my WIP parades like this, but I'd already taken all my photos and I packed them all away, and I just thought this would be a better way to do it. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and that way you won't miss out on any future posts. And for those that don't know, my name's Nicole from Darvanalee Designs Studio, and I will see you all again very soon for another Stitch With Me sewing tutorial or a floss tube diamond painting. Alright, have a great weekend everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.